Welcome to Dicefall and Everybody Dies, a Pathfinder 2nd Edition live play podcast. Join our descent into the halls of Hell Knight Hill as we play the Paizo Age of Ashes adventure path. Some descriptions and languages may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Oh look, is that a zombie dog?
Howdy everyone. Please let me take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Christopher Nethery, the GM for this podcast of our group's adventures through Golarion. If you're new to tabletop RPGs, or like us, new to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, we'll be playing a game where we use the awesome material published by Paizo to craft a shared story of adventure, action, and potentially tragedy. Pencils, character sheets, and fresh rulebooks in hand, we hope to share our fun with you as I do everything in my power to challenge, evoke, and eviscerate the emotions of my players. In a fun way, of course. We'll be following Paizo's new 2nd edition adventure path, Age of Ashes, telling the story of 4 would-be heroes. Our group is elected to begin with 3 characters as they reach the town of Breachill, with our 4th character joining us in episode 2. Our background sounds are provided by the awesome folks of Sirenscape, and our intro music was produced by Kevin MacLeod and is used under the Creative Commons license. If you enjoy this podcast, please thumbs up, favorite, follow, comment with all the ways that we can improve, because your feedback is really what will help us enrich the podcast and make it better for everyone. So please, let me welcome you once more to Dice Fall and Everybody Dies. Alright everyone, welcome to the first session. We're starting up Age of Ashes finally. We've got Jules, Shay, and Sid here playing with us today. Let's go ahead and talk about our characters a little bit, to kind of figure out where everyone's going, and then we'll get into, kind of what we're playing, and then we'll start getting into the situation. Who wants to go first?
Long, awkward silence.
Shifty eyes. Eventually someone else has to. It's just like I know what your characters are, but not every... Y'all haven't talked about how everyone's interconnected yet and all that good stuff, so...
Okay, well, I have Stano, who is a woman. She's a human fighter from Cheliax. She comes from Agorian. Agorian, sorry. She briefly ran into Deimos on the road, but she's 100% dedicated to the Hell Knight Order.
Have you picked a particular Hell Knight Order?
No.
So you just want to become a Hell Knight.
She just wants to be a Hell Knight. She probably has all of them has all of the orders memorized, like, alphabetically, and she writes them all in her diary right before she goes to bed.
Right, with all of the hand drawn out posters of all the different symbols, trying to collect the orders like the next set of Pokemon.
She's got autographs from like all the Hell Knights she's run into in Agorian.
There's a lot of Hell Knights in Agorian. Yeah.
She runs into a whole squadron of them just like beating somebody senselessly to death. She's like, "Can you sign my notebook?
Can we get a blood print on that one?" No, we totally won't use it for devil signing. It'll be fine.
And her siblings are like, "This is concerning."
What about Deimos?
Well, Deimos is a half-elf bard he's from Andoran, and he is currently just milling around until his family can actually convince him to go home, because he doesn't want to. And he's following Stano around because he finds her rather fascinating, if a little brutal.
Cute looks do not play well in audio.
She's wonderful. She does arts and crafts with skulls.
All right, that definitely works well with the Hell Knight motif. They typically have several different skull motifs in their armor.
Oh, definitely.
And then what about our remaining character?
Tafaxio Daxi is a noble gnome from Absalom. She grew up in a loving home with a great family, and then they sent her to school with a wizard that her father knew. They became besties, because Tafaxi, or Taffy as she calls herself, and her friends should call her that or else, she became really close with him, and he taught her everything he knew. She accidentally summoned a fae one day just because she wanted to summon a familiar, because she found the book and thought it was cool. And so now she has a fae familiar. Turns out she has a fae background. One day her teacher dies, and she decides she's going to go hit the road after finding this cool book about Hell Knights. So, just did a lot of research.
Lappy Taffy.
So we've got
Don't call her
three
that.
basically nobles.
So 3 nobles walk into Isker. Let's see what happens. I do notice that Denimos and Stheno don't seem to have last names, but Odaxi over here is apparently ready to go.
Oh, Stano's last name is Dumal.
Deimos jerk and will not divulge, so you can deal.
There's
He gives
nothing wrong
about
with that.
half the information.
All right, so at the very beginning of every session with Pathfinder 2.0, or second edition is, one of these days I'll figure out exactly what to call it. I really like the idea of handing things out. We tried it in our other game the other day. We have starting buttons to represent everyone's hero points. And so every session will start out with one.
And I ride around and stab myself with it.
Well, if you're wanting to use it, might as well stab yourself at the beginning. I mean, that's the joy of a button. You get that little pain-pleasure thing going on simultaneously.
Oh, that's awkward. Oh my, in the words of George Takei.
All right. So we know that Deimos and Stheno are palling around. Y'all have just come up the river boats that are going through because
Powling if he's following her?
Hmm?
Is it powling if he's
He's pack
following her?
muling.
Okay.
Pack muling, except he cannot carry very much.
Well, if I remember correctly, Demos has like a 10 strength, so there's not much pack muling going on there. There's maybe...
Like, I didn't say it was kind pack muling, and I didn't say it was efficient pack muling. What I said is she's taking her bags and slamming them on his shoulder and then walking away very quickly.
So he stands somewhere in the distance while she fights something and just goes, great.
Demos is over here. It's got, what's your instrument?
What did we give him, a lyre?
So
Yeah, it's a lyre.
You've got a lyre in both hands. You're doubled up on your backpacks. You're moving at half speed, and you're just like, here is your music while you happen to go kill the thing threatening us. Thank you. Keep fighting really well. Inspire courage.
She hasn't decided if she's going to use him to be a puppet yet or not.
Oh my.
He really
I
likes
have to
it.
second that oh my on that one. That's fine.
The unfortunate thing is
What
he
you do
does
in your
really like
downtime
it.
is your character's prerogatives. That's fine. Now, one of the things about Iskers specifically, especially post-Goblin Blood Wars, is the safest bits of travel are going to be generally along the river and the roads that are going across those rivers. And it was around those time that you're heading up towards the seat of the Regency in Isker, because it's hard to call it a capital, because one, when you compare it to Agorian, it's really not a capital, but they call, you're out in the sticks for all intents and purposes as far as your perspective is. So you're heading out that way, and you're just like, there's a Hell Knight Citadel that anyone can go to. They claim it's abandoned, but Citadel all-terrain is, free to explore. And you heard that, and you're like, let's go to that place. What's the town right near it? And that's the town of Breach Hill. And so you're like, we're going there.
Call that a town?
It's got 1,300 people in it. It's a cozy little hamlet.
It's 6 shacks in a single goblin.
There's more than just one goblin, and there's definitely more than 6
Oh,
shacks.
there's goblins?
So there's a handful of shacks.
By Agorian standards, yes. By Andoran standards, it is a quaint little town. And then, in a similar line of travel, both of y'all give me a quick perception.
18.
So y'all did notice for a long period of the trip up that there was a gnome who was very inquisitive, because as you know, most gnomes, they tend to be fairly touchy-feely because y'all were traveling along the route for such a long period of time, especially when you go like Andoran through Cheliax and then Cheliax up to Isker. You notice that there was another gnome that was there, and a bit colorful. In fact, what does Miss Odaxi generally wear?
Whatever she wants.
True.
Colors. Lots and lots of colors. Mostly pastels. Although on the road she wears darker colors because they tend to show dirt a little less. And then she rides on the back of her wolfhound mount, Braxton. And bright pink hair done up in braids just so that it doesn't get tangled in burrs, because of course you don't want that. And glasses, 'cause it's on her nose.
So this pink-haired gnome in glasses with just this huge dog, especially by comparison. We're there with y'all the whole trip. And then all of a sudden you were just like, all right, we're going to disembark off to Breach Hill. And then the gnome is also following you. Not following you, but just one of those obviously heading in the same direction towards Breach Hill. Does anyone want to have a conversation before they reach Breach Hill?
No.
Absolutely no conversation whatsoever. Just this awkward silence of y'all eventually just outpacing the gnome until the gnome gets on her riding dog, and then all of a sudden it just...
I'm not a wolfhound. I'm going to move faster than them.
Deimos is going to repeatedly point out that there is a gnome around them. Repeatedly and annoyingly.
She's talking to her wolfhound and the fairy, or sprite, sorry, Wimble, the whole time. She's a little shy right now because she's in unknown territory, but also very excited because she heard something about being a title to a citadel being up for grabs. So she's super excited because she wants, a place to call her own if she can get it.
Steno is basically power walking to get away from these two.
Deimos is a little shorter, so he's going to try to power walk. Mostly he's just booking it.
I'm not, stalking you guys.
No, I know.
Eventually, y'all make it along the road to Breach Hill fairly uneventfully. As y'all get into it, y'all do know a little bit about this place coming in. It's roughly a smallish hamlet, small town, about 1,300 people or so. It cropped up to well before they decided to locate a Hell Knight citadel over here on this edge of the Five Kings Mountains. And they have this odd custom that they do for when dealing with adventurers, because after the Goblin Blood Wars, there's always something that you need a little bit of extra help with. And they do this thing called a call to adventure. And y'all hear about this, in your first day or two when y'all are in town. You hear that it's coming up, that there's this big thing about people gathering together to kind of get the news of what's going on, when things might be going down. The big schmoozing that ends up happening happens to be at a tavern known as the Wizard's Grace, and it's kind of like the local hubbub spot where you'll have town councilors, different people from the different guilds and crafts guilds kind of hanging out, talking about what's going on before they move into... Everyone kind of moves over towards the town hall right before things start going on. Is there anything that y'all would like to do and check out in the town at this point in time?
Is there a place to stable Braxton?
Yes, though I think it'd be boarding technically for a dog. You want to find a place to board your pup?
Well, he's a mount, so stable, boarding. Honestly, I would take him with me, but I feel like it's probably a little inappropriate to take him to a meeting.
Yeah, there's plenty of places. Each of the different inns has a spot where you can stable everyone.
I'll go to the Wizard's Grace and talk to the stable boy, see how much that is.
He's like, oh, it's just a couple copper. Are you new into town?
I am. I'm here for the Call to Heroes.
Oh, that's coming up just a little bit, too. And are you going to stay here at the Wizard's Grace?
Mayhap. Depends on what's going on.
You should totally try the boar and lentil soup. It is a tradition.
Thank you. I will definitely keep that in mind. I pay him the coppers and I give him an extra.
Thank you, my lady. And what does Demos want to do? Are you still carrying Stenos packs?
Yes, more than likely.
You get into town and you are just before dog tired, because you've been lugging the packs. You've been trying to figure things out in your head along the way, and you're just like, cute town. This was a long walk.
Steno's gonna come over and just take her bags and just walk away.
Okay, so we're booking after her. Because she has much longer legs. Maybe we should go find an inn and sleep. I like sleeping. Sleeping's fun.
I'm aware. You've slept a lot.
You should consider sleeping more.
Steno's gonna make her way towards the what is it? The Wizard's...
The Wizard's Grace?
The Wizard's Grace. I was gonna call it the Wizard's Beard.
The Wizard's Grace is one of the better taverns and establishments in the area. One of the ones that's said to have some of the best food. It's serving more of the more affluent members of the town that's along there. So you're just like, if there's going to be any place with decent food in this before I head up to the Citadel, then that's going to be the place that's there. So you head in there. It's definitely it's a bustling setup. You got people who are doing drinks, people who are kind of finishing a meal in between, basically the equivalent of brunch. You do get a hearty smell of what you can probably tell is a boar stew that's hanging in the air. But it's pretty easy to still find a spot, get down, and you do happen to see. Did you ever introduce yourself?
Not to them, no. I've just been kind of the shy, quiet type, making my own separate camp every night, that kind of thing.
So when you're going in there, give me a perception check, all of y'all.
Me.
11.
13.
5.
Steno and Demos notice that y'all are probably the closest to adventurers in here at the moment. Everyone is, that doesn't look like they're particularly geared out for travel, or they look like they're wearing either commoner's clothing or merchant's attire at this point. You see a couple who would be closer to more social dress by Agorian standards, but aren't quite there. Just one of those is like, they're provincials. But you can definitely tell y'all are probably the main adventurers there. And there's a lot more energy in the room coming up as it starts getting closer to the call. And as you start getting closer to noon, you can tell that folks are beginning to begin migrating over towards that area. And one of the things you notice is that there is, and Demos is the one who kind of picks it out earlier, that there is a halfling that seems to be kind of eyeing everyone off in a corner.
Halfling.
Yes, a halfling. Not a gnome, a halfling. And he just kind of is watching the people go out. His eyes are shifting back and forth. He just basically looks like whatever version of the boar stew he had was not a very tasty version of the boar stew. Kind of just the sour look on his face.
Mm.
Alright, solid. Let's
Stano's gonna kind of
leave them in.
take a look at the halfling and then lean over to Damos and be like, never seen a slave look so pissed off before.
Okay, Roth, I'm going to go sit over here and plop myself next to our gnome, just because she seems friendly. Okay.
So you see this half-elf get up, looks a little road weary, and he sits down next to you.
Hello.
Hello. I'm
Hi.
Deimos.
I'm Taffy.
Okay, solid. I'm just going to sit next to you because it's very...
You're the one that was carrying all those bags. Why wasn't the tall woman carrying the bags too?
Well, you see, she stabs the things, and I carry the stuff.
Yeah, but that's what a horse or a dog is for, isn't it?
Yes, but we don't have that. We have me.
Ah, okay.
I'll be okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm Taffy, and this is Wimble. Nice to meet you.
Alright. I'm Deimos, and that's Zeno, awkwardly standing all the way over there. Yeah.
She's gonna make her way over and sit down.
Hi! I'm Taffy. This is Wimble. What's your name?
Stano.
Nice to meet you. So I hear you stab things?
Regularly. I also sometimes bludgeon them.
Oh. Okay. What brings you guys here?
Hell Knights.
I like Hell Knights. I've been doing a lot of research on them recently. I would say I'm a bit of a historian. I know a lot.
I like her.
Kind of in general.
I like her hair.
Oh, thank you. It's natural.
He's going to resist all the urges
I
to
mean, her
reach
laugh.
over and pet her hair. Like, I could be good.
There's this interplay across Steno's face where it's just like the small little nuance of it. It's just like, a noble does not laugh at this. A noble should not laugh at this. I
And
will
yet-
not laugh at this. It is part of my training to not laugh at this. A Hell Knight does not laugh at the gnome. The gnome must not be laughed at. I will not laugh at the gnome. And then composure gets over your face once more.
So, you like Hell Knights too. What do you like about them?
They're strong, and they hold order. Being from Cheliax, they are a sign of our strength and our nobility.
You're from Cheliax. I'm from Absalon.
There are worse places to be from.
Yeah. Given your history from Cheliax, I can understand.
Should have seen the Taldor noble we ran into on the barge.
I'm afraid I don't want to see that.
You know?
Don't you guys hate Taldors? Or Taldorians? Like a lot?
That's a weak word for it.
Ah, okay.
As Tafaxi remembers that she does remember what happened to the Taldoran because she shared the ride with y'all on the way up.
On the boat?
Mm-hmm.
I was off in my own world. I heard something happen, but I didn't know what happened, so I didn't dig too deep into it. I was reading.
It's probably better that way. It's okay.
Deimos almost threw up.
Ooh.
Don't tell people that. That's
Why?
That's gross.
Vomit's just kind of a natural thing. It's okay.
Yeah, but I don't want to share it.
Are you guys gonna get the boar and lentil soup?
I'm tempted, but the guy back there kind of looks like it might not be good.
Is that a halfling?
Yeah, the halfling.
I don't see very much of those lately.
So as you begin mentioning the boar and lentil soup, a woman comes over. She's looks to be about, we'll say, middling height. Bit of a
So tall to me.
yes, very much taller than a dwarf. Far about twice the size of a gnome, but definitely shorter than Steno and probably an inch shorter than Demos over here. She comes over here. She's got a chipper smile on her face, and if she was to be cast as any character, she would probably be Elizabeth from Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh no.
So this kind of sweet demeanor, and she introduces herself as she is Trinal Uskwood, and she is the keeper and one of the waitresses of this bar here. So she comes over. She's just like, I hope everyone's enjoying. Does anyone need any refills? Do we want another bowl before we start? Because y'all are obviously adventurers coming over here for the call, right?
Yes.
We are.
I don't have any soup or anything. Nobody's got me a drink or
Oh.
even offered.
Honey, we'll rectify that for you immediately.
I will take tons of soup.
Do you have straight vodka?
We...
Wimble
Probably.
likes vodka.
Do you want it mixed or straight?
Straight.
All right.
Also,
It's still a little early, sweetie. Are you sure?
well,
Wait, I wonder if we could put vodka in the stew.
don't do that.
No.
No. I don't want vodka. No, don't mix alcohol in soup. It's not.
What honey, do you want alcohol or soup?
I want both.
Isn't that the same as mixing?
No.
it? Okay.
Keep
I'm
them
sorry, honey.
separate.
We'll be right back with soup.
We'll
So-
take 3 bowls and 3 ales.
Excellent.
And
That'd
a
be
shot of vodka for the familiar.
Yeah.
okay. So she'd had this pause, and she was just like, she was trying to figure out whether or not you were referring to the sprite or the gnome for the familiar, and just this quick look of confusion, and then suddenly she's like, boom, kind of right out to the door, and we're just like super fast turnaround, and it's basically like soup bowl, mail, mug, vodka, boom, out here. It's just like very fast service.
A little thimble for my pack. I dip it in the vodka and hand it to Wimble, who's chilling on my shoulder.
Wimble takes the thimble, and for about the size, it's about the appropriate size of like a cup, and so you've basically handed your tiny little sprite the equivalent of like
Mug of vodka.
8 ounces of Everclear for all intents and purposes for him.
I shoot it back like
We
it's
can't get
nothing.
any
Oh,
Grey
yeah.
Goose in this place? Where are we?
Well, see, the thing is that you have, for a standard size humanoid, it's much closer to like a Grey Goose or you are out kind of in the sticks. It's definitely not a Grey Goose, but you have a quality vodka. No, the challenge for when you're a tiny creature and you've got a full thimble of it is that almost all of it's Everclear at this point, and you basically see him throw this back like it's a shot. Like the only time that you see this is when someone's doing terrible things in college. Is how
Wimble's
quickly
actually an alcoholic, you guys.
Ah! I like his strength.
He puts the thimble in his head.
Yes.
I am concerned for the tiny thing.
He gives you this look.
Through the thimble?
Yeah, like the thimble's right here, and it's just kind of just small eyes looking, just wings fluttering, and a little wobbly back and forth at this
Not
point.
that wobbly.
No, just this little, like, before he'd be floating kind of up and down, and then all of a sudden there's just like a tilt back and forth. Just every once in a while you get a tilt.
Deimos is still concerned, but he's not going to say anything more because now he thinks he's offended them.
So Miss Trinio comes back after y'all have had a few moments to catch up on your soup a little bit, pulling the... It's like, so y'all are coming in. It's getting They'll probably have about an hour until the hero's call. We don't want to let anyone miss it, just because you never know what news and crazy stuff could be going on for that. Is there anything else that y'all need? Anything I can do for
need
you?
a room? At some point, I'm probably going to stay here for a little bit.
Okay, no, we can easily provide for that for you.
Excellent. Now that I finish up my soup, and I'd like to go put my stuff up if you don't mind.
Sure thing. In fact, we can just bypass the Calmont over there. He's being sour again.
Is that the halfling?
Yeah.
Why is he sour? I thought halflings were generally sweet, like gnomes.
If you beat them too much, sometimes they turn out like that.
Why would you beat a halfling?
Well, he is an apprentice to a bookseller. I don't know how well he's treated. I don't think he's treated well. But maybe that's the reason why. He's just generally been of a poor disposition.
What kind of books? I like books.
Oh, she's the resident holder of where all of our more eclectic tombs are done, if you wanted to
Those
pick
are
up
my
something.
favorite kind.
Well, I mean, we also have a library for, like, histories and the stuff, but if you want something that's kind of out there,
I wanna
normally
keep
she's the one that
them
might have
if I
him.
get
Local
books.
histories?
That would be at a library, yes. Things about how the information about our lovely town of Breach Hill and all that good stuff. But yes, we'll definitely be able to provide you a room.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll be able to stay with us for a while.
Maybe.
And if you're going to go for the call, hopefully you'll be able to come back from it. Normally, our adventures are more things like taking care of things that are happening out, like protecting the loggers and that kind of stuff. But, you know, if there's something here today, maybe it'll be something exciting.
We'll see.
Deimos can't say anything. He has a mouthful of soup.
Yeah, the boar and lentil soup, it's a hand-me-down from my grandfather. He was an adventurer before he opened up this tavern here, the Wizard's Grace.
Why is it named that?
The Wizard's Grace? Well, there's a couple. One is he always liked to say that he lived by the grace of their wizard, making sure that he was kept alive. But another is to honor, well, if I remember the stories correctly, it's to honor the wizard that helped save and start the town when, several hundred years ago.
Oh.
We are all
Awesome.
very proud of our town's founder.
I would also like a room prepared.
Oh, yes, we can easily take care of that for you.
Good.
I'd like to freshen up before the meeting.
Excellent. So y'all have plenty of opportunity to do that, but, well, because y'all are actually, like, kind of catty-corner from where the town hall is. So you head up, freshen up. You have the standard things that you would expect in a room, a bed, a place to put your materials. But y'all can easily be fresh and revived. The soup was pretty good. Not quite sure about the gaminess of the boar, but it's definitely not the worst food that y'all have had up along the trip here so far. Not high-class Sigorian food. Not as quirky as the stuff you'd expect in Absalom. Nothing you'd write a song about, but good fare.
It's in his stomach. That's what he's content about.
Yes.
It's not great, but it's there.
So, Taffy's gonna change into, like, the pasteliest, pinkest, prettiest robe she has. And, Wimble is now sobered up because he just burns
Pixie
through
metabolism.
it. Yeah. And so she puts her packs and stuff in storage so that it can't be readily seen. She just carries her staff and, basic stuff with her.
Okay,
Stano is going to go up to the room that she rented and drop off all of her stuff. Probably switch out of her heavy traveling gear into more standard clothing.
Deimos is alongside her on this. Who knows where he's sleeping in the room, but he can change in the least. JK, he's probably in the bed.
Bold assumption.
Oh, she doesn't want some of that?
And the propositions begin early. You'll finish up. It's probably 10-15 minutes before the expected time of the meeting. Plenty of time to be able to walk across the avenue over to where the town hall is. And you see a crowd of probably 40-ish people outside the town hall. They haven't started letting anyone in yet. And they're kind of conversing amongst themselves. The Call for Heroes is kind of it's a type of event where you find out a lot about the town gossip. You kind of see what's going on with other folks at any point in time, because if someone has a problem that's big enough that they have to ask for adventurers to take care of it, then, you know, it might be good for business. It might be bad for business. Maybe you just want to know if some juicy gossip that could be happening and occurring at any point in time. So did y'all just want to kind of walk up and wait your turn? Did y'all want to interact with any folks?
I just kind of... So Taffy's gonna kind of mingle and listen, but not really, like, jump into conversations. She's just gonna kind of see what's going on a little bit, because this is the first time she's ever been here, so...
Okay, Stena?
She's probably going to pick a place as close to the front as she can get. She doesn't want to be overtly rude, even though they are just commoners. But she's just going to kind of stand around, see what she can hear, see what she can see, just kind of take in what's going on.
And Demos?
Not far behind, maybe chatting up a few people, saying hi.
So there's one of the first ones to take notice, actually probably some of the children, as they noticed the bright colors that Odaxi is wearing. And they're just like, you're a gnome, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what is that?
Wimble, he's my best friend. He's a sprite.
Is Wimble your familiar?
Yeah,
Are you a wizard?
I am.
Oh my.
You guys are really smart for kids.
Well, we have school. Plus, we all know that, like, wizards are, like, some of the most powerful people on all of Galarian.
You're so right. We are.
What kind of spells can you cast?
A lot, but I mostly...
Can you turn Tommy into a newt? He's been mean all day.
No, I don't do transformations.
Oh.
But I can do cool things like this.
So, she is going to cast... I know she has it. She's going to cast Dancing Lights. It's a cantrip. So she's just going to do, like, one of, like, pastel green, pastel yellow, pink, and blue, and just make them spin around in circles and do stuff like that. That's exciting.
And so y'all see Miss Odaxi start, you hear cast a spell, and it grabs a couple people's attention, but it's gotten all of the kids' attention, and they are now chasing the lights around every single way. Like, she'll point one over this way, and then you've got Kid Joan that one. You'd have all the lights kind of going in multiple directions, and then just all crisscrossing their patch. They're trying to, like, catch them like they're fireflies, and then they catch it for a moment, and it goes out, and then they realize you can't catch magic like that, and it just basically goes the equivalent of, like, through their hand. It's like, whoop!
That's adorable.
So as they're playing around, she asks questions, like,
So what kind of things do the heroes do?
Heroes do all of the cool things. Like, our town's founder, was he an archmage? He was a wizard, not an archmage. The wizard Breachton, he protected our whole town when it was founded because, like, all of our ancestors were apparently, they had this thing called amnesia. It's amnesia. Well, what's the difference? It's like, one, you lose your memory, and then one is a medical condition. I don't think that's a medical condition. Just, in any case, he saved the town, and he made sure that we were all able to survive, and he used all of his smarts and knowledge, and he's, like, really, really awesome, and that's why we really like wizards. And so, it's really cool that you're a wizard. Are you going to be here for the Hero's Call?
I am, yeah.
Awesome. Hopefully they need your skills. We all need good wizards.
You're dang right we do.
You've had that part. You're talking to the children. You're trying to pull information out of them.
yeah.
Then, so Steno is up towards the top, or up towards the front. So you see what Odaxi's doing. You're just mildly thinking it's cute, but it must... Stoicism. Are you, like, leaning against a structure? Are you just kind of standing? Are you taking... What kind of posture are you sitting at?
Perfect posture.
Perfect.
Standing up straight, kind of eyes constantly scanning the crowd.
Give me a perception check.
9.
She sees crap.
So she's scanning, but she's not really looking at anything.
Yeah, you're just like, commoner. Could be handsome if cleaned up, but still commoner. Kid, gnome, kid, gnome, light, kid, gnome. And a gentleman walks up to you, just like, "Are you here for the call?"
Yes, of course. Why else would I be standing here?
Well, some of us like to hobnob with others, but you look like you're new in town. Well, we would have seen someone who cuts such an imposing figure as yourself before, I'm sure.
I am. I've just arrived.
Excellent. We don't know what this month's call is going to be, but it could be something quite juicy and interesting. What would one... Are you wearing your armor, or are you just in plain clothes?
In plain clothes, but there's definitely... It's definitely nicely made plain clothes.
It's definitely like... A lot of people get good and gussied up when going in here just because you're in front of all the town officials and all of the hobnobbers and good folks of town, and you never get to know all of the good goings-on that's around here. If you're here for the call, what's your specialty?
I'm a fighter.
A fighter? What kind of techniques do you use? Are you good with the sword? Are you good with, like, the flail or a mace? Or are you, like, one of those brash kind of fighters? You don't look like you would be a brash kind of fighter. You look like you'd be kind of dexterous when you fight.
I use a two-handed greatsword.
Oh, my. Do you have the greatsword on you?
No.
That seems like it'd be unwieldy. How strong are you?
Strong enough to best several of Cheliax's best soldiers.
Dave, leave the woman alone. She says she's a strong fighter. She wields a greatsword. She can't wield it too much. She's not carrying it with her.
I can wield you right down these stairs if you'd like to keep talking that way.
Oh, yeah? Here, why don't we settle it fair and square? Bring over that table. Let's have a quick arm wrestling match and see who's stronger.
Okay. She's gonna push up her sleeves, and she's very strong.
So the guy who says that, he's not initially paying attention. He's making sure like a quick table gets brought over from one of the side spots.
Do I overhear this?
You're still with the kids, but you begin seeing a commotion as someone like brings over a table, and so you've got like 2 stools and a table being set there.
I walk over to see what the commotion's about.
And then as you're
Still
rolling
having
up
the
your sleeve,
lights.
and all of a sudden like the definition from your muscles are showing up.
Ooh.
And then his eyes go wide and he just realizes that he's been caught in his own stupidity.
I cast shield on the poor man.
On
This
the
is in
man.
case you get hurt.
She's going to fling him.
That is shield another, and that's a different spell.
It raises his AC by 1.
So he's like,
Shield only works for yourself now.
yeah, that spell shield another is the other form.
And she's like unbuttoning her little vest jerkin too, and like
Yep.
leaning, like turning towards the nearest person, like, hold this.
And all of a sudden they're holding it, and they're just like, yeah, and all of a sudden you've got a little bit of the crowd cheering you on a little bit here, and then you sit down on the stool, the arms forward, the guy sits down on the other side. He still has this look of, like, you can see that he's trying to psych himself up into it. It's like, okay,
done
you
screwed
started
up.
this, let's do it. You started this, let's do this, let's do this. And he puts his hand forward, give me strength.
I'm gonna turn this in early right now.
All right, we're using our very first hero points on a strength check against a commoner.
Listen, this has to be really impressive, okay? Okay, so 14.
So he gets in, and it starts off kind of even, and then you're just like, BAM! Just bring him down. You don't break his arm. You just broke some of his pride.
Yeah.
Because like everyone, because they're like, yeah, dude, and just like, hey, Bob, I think she can wield a greatsword now. It's like, no, duh, Ted. I think she can too. Hopefully she gets hired for the call. And so Demos, you see the dancing lights running around, the kids playing this quick little mono-e-mono, just as Steno goes ahead and shows that maybe Steno should have been carrying the packs the whole time.
Oh no, he knows.
And give me a
Listen.
perception check.
Listen, it wasn't Seno can't carry the packs from the ship to the town. It was, this is an establishment of dominance.
It is. So Deimos has been flirting with someone the entire time.
Okay, no. Give me a quick perception check.
Let's use this one. Natural 20.
All right. So you're talking to different members of the townsfolk, kind of flirting back and forth. You've kind of got a gaggle of we'll say young women, not necessarily like full maids, but we're not talking crones or spinsters or anything, just kind of the women who are kind of around town. They're very much taken with your turns of phrase, especially when you start telling the story about how you're carrying this fighter's gear all by yourself, and that you're just doing it, one, because you're just that chivalrous sort of person, and you're just stretching the yarn of the story. In the process of it, you happen to also see that there's someone who is kind of very much in their own world. You see a well-dressed female goblin pacing back and forth.
So she's just going back and forth?
Yeah, she's pacing back and forth and kind of muttering to herself.
Okay, well, let's go try to talk to her then.
Give me a quick society check.
Oh, good, I actually have that. Let's see. 19, and then I have a 6?
So 25?
Yeah.
From what you remember, just like, oh yeah, I had heard of that there was a small town out here that had actually started making peaceful inroads with some of the goblins. This must be the goblin representative for the area. You see, she's walking back and forth, just kind of talking to herself, and she's just like, "Oh, my bramble bashers! I'm so worried about them. Don't know what we're going to do. Need to get this meeting started so that we can start this, so that we can get things going and see what we got happening."
Just going up to her and try to talk. It's like, "Hey, ma'am, are you okay?"
"Oh, well, I'm as well as one can expect. Just a bit preoccupied. There's much on my mind at the moment. Oh, are you here for the call?"
Yeah.
"Excellent. Hopefully we'll be able to get all things nice and squared away, and maybe the town will elect you for the task that we'll place forth for it." Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the task is?
Well, I do know that, so one of the things we plan to do in this council meeting is that, because I'm just certain that something has befallen my bramble bashers, and we're going to put forward on today's agenda to make sure that we can bring together a stalwart group of adventurers to go in and check on them to make sure that nothing is terrible has befallen them. I've not been able to get a hold of the bramble basher chieftain for the last month. She's missed 2 of our meetings, and she's always been quite punctual, and, well, sometimes you just gotta make sure, and plus there's that crazy smoke that's coming up from the top of it, and it's the same color as the signal fires that we would normally do if there's distress or errors, and I can't just go in by myself because if there's a distress signal, it's super duper dangerous, and well, I'm relying on the time for help just because it's what, good neighbors do.
Sorry, she kind of unloaded on it.
I do apologize. It's just, here, let me formally introduce myself. I am Warble. I'm the ambassador to the Bramble Basher Goblins on Hell Knight Hill, and it's a great honor to serve both my fellow citizens of Breach Hill as the official representative of the Bramble Bashers. I communicate with them and convey the town's needs as well as the interest, and I advocate for my clan on their behalf. It's a duty I take very seriously. They're my people after all, hence is why I'm here. In my rather distracted nature, I hope you do forgive me for it.
It's alright. So, they're missing?
I hope not. There's a distress signal. We don't know exactly what's going on. That's why we want to send the Stalworth group up there to check on them.
Well, hope we can help out.
I do too, because if you're adventurous, the calls are always really good places to start. So as you're milling around, the noon bell strikes and the crowd of about 40 people begin kind of gathering inside. We actually do have a
Withdraw my dancing lights.
Okay, no. The children with the dancing lights being gone definitely then run off to go about playing around town.
I wave at them.
They wave back. Good luck!
Thank you!
So you'll begin milling into the primary council chamber. There's a couple guards posted on the outside just because official business is going on. Maybe someone gets unruly, they don't expect it, and you walk into a fairly large hall. It's got benches on each side. It looks like the crazy part is like you've got two 25-foot benches on each side. So there's like a row of 50 feet of benches on one side and looks like 8 deep before you get up to the council chambers, and you got 5 giant desks, like 15-foot wide, like big, well-carved desks sitting up there at the top. And everyone's beginning to kind of mill inside, and they begin taking their seats in all the different areas around. You see Demos notices that the Miss Warble makes sure that she's got a little spot up there towards the front. And you see that there's little plaques on each one of the desks, each side. Then after everyone kind of gets settled down for a little bit, then from one of the back areas, because you've got the door that y'all entered into, one at the very opposite side, it looks like it's one of the little business entrances, or the entrance for from not the employee but the government enter, because they've got it's got like a little 5-foot bit, and it's got these big set of out shelves that are there. And then it looks like there's another service entrance off to the western side of the room. So you got about roughly 40 people in. You've got the counselors and stuff set up there.
Stano did take back her jerkin, by the way.
Yes.
And put it back on.
Is there anywhere in the room that y'all want to sit particularly?
I want to get as close to the front as I can because I'm short.
Okay, do you want to get on the east side of the room or the west side?
East.
East side? So it's probably, good 40 feet, so you're like, and then eastern side over there. What about Steno?
She's probably going to sit on the west, all the way at the very far end of the bench, closest towards the aisle.
Okay.
So if there's a situation, she can be up and ready.
All right. So you want to be the one... Do you want to be close to the exit or close to the council members?
Honestly, a little bit closer to the council members.
Okay. And then what about Demos?
Demos just sitting right next to her, taking up like way too much space.
So Demos is over here just kind of lounging, just been like, yeah, call of heroes. Totally, Toad's going to do this.
Slouching is for ugly people.
I'll take what I can get. Just rolling her eyes at him.
So after a few more moments, council members begin walking in. You see that there's 3 humans, a dwarf, and a gnome. And they begin filing into what you assume is each of their own specific assigned spots. You see kind of from the easternmost desk to the western ones on the emblazoned nameplates. So starting on the eastern side is a Jorsk Hinterclaw, a Melma Ann Sendari, and then the center you have Greta Gardenia, then a Trini Spiegelgig, and then a Quintino Passandi, all the way to the western side.
I can tell which one's the gnome.
Yeah, it's
no,
because she's
everybody
shorter
can
than
tell.
everyone else.
By the name, silly.
Everybody can tell.
And so everyone's kind of got the talking back and forth, and then you hear a rap on the gavel, just like bum bum bum, to get everyone's attention. Yes, like that. Slightly less hollow, but like that. So then with a sharp rap of the gavel to her desk, a stern, dark-haired woman with a deeply furrowed forehead and kind eyes brings everyone in the crowd to a hush. Welcome, neighbors and friends, she begins. Her rich voice begins just washing across the room. Friends, welcome to the Breach Hill Town Council's monthly call for heroes. I am Council President Greta Gardania, here at your service. On behalf of my colleagues beside me, I promise you all that we will hear and consider today's petition with the utmost discretion and care, for there is no existence without community, as our town charter says. Today, our agenda includes one petition. Miss Warble, our very own ambassador to the Bramble Bashers on Hell Knight Hill, requests the help of heroes for a matter of utmost importance. Let us hear her concerns in her own words, shall we, Miss Warble? And at that indication, Warble stands up, kind of steps up to where the podium is so that she can get a little more height and be able to speak a little more. And then she clears her throat. And she kind of begins with a bit frazzled. Kind of a frazzleness to her tone. Because you can, and Demos, you recognize that because she was definitely very worried when you were talking to her. Esteemed counselors, it has been more than a month since I've been able to contact the Bramble Bashes. I fear that something terrible has befallen them. Once more, I've seen my people's distress signal coming from the top of Castle Alterain. But before she can continue any further, the door on the western side of the room flies open. You see a young man, maybe an apprentice of some sort. His eyes are wide with panic. He runs in shouting, waving his ink-stained hands. There's suddenly billowing black smoke and flames start falling into the room. He's like, "Fire! Fire! Everyone flee!" A fire has broken out and it begins entering the room. Roll for initiative. Would y'all like a map or not a map?
A map would probably be helpful. What I loved whenever we were apparently all standing outside was the guy randomly in the background singing opera music.
There was a bard who was just very, very threatened by Deimos and had to just keep competing.
I think the most beautiful thing is you only mentioned the girls. This character is very bisexual.
They're the ones who started off with.
He's aggressively bisexual.
I just want to, for the record, say that I made it very clear that I had my staff with me.
He did. We didn't think Chris would do this to us.
Curse his sudden but inevitable betrayal.
So let's get our scene set up now that we have our map ready to go. A young clerk of some sort just came out of the western door over here on this side, followed by billowing smoke and flames, yelling smoke and fire and telling everyone to flee. And as he does so, everyone takes that moment to begin standing, and everyone in the panic, all of the bench seating ends up getting knocked backward and over, making everywhere here difficult terrain. The town councilors have each risen up as well, and just in a state of shock and surprise. And we have rolled initiative. So let's go ahead and start with Tafaxi. 15. And then Stenos.
17.
And Demos.
14.
So as soon as the man bursts forward, the counselors begin immediately. They each take a quick action to kind of assess the situation, and then they each begin attempting to assist getting one person out by helping to direct them and to kind of get their attention, focus them, and get them out. And so if y'all would like to assist in getting folks out, it takes, you can choose the side of the room that you're on, and it takes 3 actions to rescue 2 individuals at any point in time. If you work together with another person, you will be able, so let's say Stenos and Demos work together, y'all could both spend your 3 actions, and instead of saving 4, y'all would save 6 individuals. And so each of the counselors begin directing and moving to go help, and they're each able on their own for their sides to assist and get a couple folks out from each side. Directing was like, "This way, out from the sides. Get up, move it."
If I assist an NPC, does that count like Deimos?
Y'all coordinate and take actions a little differently, but you can try telling the counselors something to do. Stenos, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna look at Demos. Be like, we need to help evacuate this. And I'd like to focus on these first 2 benches up here because it's closest to where the fire announcement was.
Okay. And then Taffy.
So I'm kind of separated from them, but I'm near these guys, so I'm gonna just try to clear out people as quickly as I can from the front, starting with like these 2.
And Demos.
Helping stay up.
Awesome. So because you've worked together, you get an additional 2. So y'all begin seeing the fire. As soon as I find my markers. Starting out in that area there, and coming out just behind as you see the poor clerk run. You see appears to be a type of flaming creature, small in size, and as he comes forward, he just looks gleefully happy that a thing is burning, and so that he then, seeing the panic and everything that's going on, he then takes and you see him go breathing fire out, spreading the fire even further. Each of the counselors that are there, they turn and they do take note of it, but they then just redouble their efforts towards attempting to get everyone out of there as fast as possible. And so they each begin their work to try to get everyone out. So while they're doing that, Steno, what do you want to do? Something has popped its head out from behind from behind that western door.
Well, she definitely has noticed it. She's going to give it a very evil glare, but she's also well aware that she does not have any weapons on her at the moment, because she wanted to seem maybe as a little bit less intimidating as she knows she comes across. So hopefully with Deimos working with her, she's going to try and clear out the rest of the west side so that she can move towards the east and get people out. Because she knows it's better to get people out of there because more people will die in the fire than one little creature.
Okie doke. And Taffy?
She's gonna get the two in the front row next to her out.
And Demos?
Working with Steno to get the last ones out of this area here.
Okay.
That'll clear out your whole side at the moment.
So together y'all begin coordinating, getting folks out, quickly directing them. Steno's authoritative voice and the gentle hand of Demos just getting folks ushered out in a way.
Deimos' gentle hand just lightly touching their buttocks.
Lift them up and be like, move along. As y'all begin getting those folks out, you see more fire crop out into those spaces there. Just this whoosh come out from the northern door, and then the fire is beginning to spread out from the western door as well. You see the elemental creature then take flight in the room and begin moving around. And then after he does that, he just breathes on this whole area again, catching all of now the benches on fire as well. Just doing this cackle of, it sounds a little bit like flames and squeals simultaneously, like
Like that's
as the people are beginning to move out, the counselors are continuing to move, taking care of, facilitating every one of the others' movements to get out of there as well.
What about these
Steno.
guys?
Fuck those people.
I've pulled off all the ones that the counselors are going to be able to pull off.
Okay. I'm going to cross over to the east side of the room and try and see if Deimos and I can help. Well, I don't know about Deimos, but I'm going to see if I can help Tafaxi get those people out.
Okay. Okay.
So you two get the rest of them.
Right, I was gonna attack the elemental, but that's okay.
You love our range, right?
I was gonna, yeah.
So, Tafaxi, you're going to spend your
Yep.
round as well? Excellent. Demos.
I am going to use one of my spells. I'm going to use Magic Missile and do it all 3 moves.
Okay, doke. Roll damage.
That's an auto hit, so I'm
Yep.
doing damage. I roll 1d4 for each one I set.
How many actions are you using?
All 3.
So you would be sending out 3 missiles.
3 missiles. So I got 3, a 3, and a 1, and it says 1d4 plus 1 force.
Okay, doke. So each missile is doing 1d4 plus 1. And so How much is your dice add up to?
7.
And so you just dealt 10 points of damage then.
Nice.
So you've got this pew, 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 as Demos turns their attention towards to the elemental creature, and you have definitely gotten its attention at this point. It turns and looks at you as though you just interrupted its playtime as it was just wanting to basically burn everything that's around it. It also just now happens to be its turn. As you can see, the fire begins spreading further.
So does the fire get its own turn?
Yeah.
I love sentient fire.
The creature flaps up over, gets about 10 feet away from you, and then it uses a breath weapon on you. I believe you will need to roll me a reflex save.
Sold 5.
Oh, Lord.
So it moves over.
Oh, no.
It
save.
breathes a 15-foot cone of fire on you. So what was your total save? You rolled a 5, but what was your total?
No, I rolled a 2, but I'm supposed to have a 4 in my
So 6.
So you critically failed.
Oh, boy.
Yes, you critically failed your save. So, luckily, the persistent damage is not going to be doubled, but you're going to take 4d4 fire damage. You will take 14 points of fire damage
Aw.
Oh, boy.
and 1 point of persistent fire damage.
How does it persist?
You will take that at the end of each of your turns.
Unless you put yourself down.
Just this, you see it fly over and just a gout of flame just washes all over Demos, just singeing terribly. The counselors are still finishing up and making sure that they get everyone out, and they're waving down the last of the people that y'all have been helping out the doors at this point. Steno.
She's irritated now. She's going to go back over and try and collar Deimos to drag him away.
Okay.
Is there a way she can help to kind of put him out?
You can. It will take. So the trouble you have is how much is your movement speed?
25.
So 25. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, you can get just right up to him, and then you can spend 2 actions to put him out.
Yeah, I'll spend those 2 actions to put him out.
So Demos, like part of your clothing had caught on fire, and then not enough to cause damage, but very brusquely, Steno comes over and begins putting you out.
So I no longer have a persistent.
Correct.
And she's got a very irritated look on her face.
Tafaxi, what would you like to do? You just saw just so much fire happen.
Tapaxi's gonna cast Ray of Frost.
Okay.
It has 120 feet range.
Okay.
You can do it. I believe in you.
So first time caster. That was an 18 before I lost everything up. And my int, right? For spellcasting?
To hit?
Yeah.
Yeah, your proficiency plus your intelligence to hit.
Oh.
Because that's your spell attack modifier.
In that case, it's 18, 25?
25 to hit?
Yes.
Hits!
Does it crit?
It does not critical.
Okay, that's fine. So it takes my spellcasting ability modifier is 4. Okay, so it takes 6 points of damage.
So you raise your hand, you aim, and you just take this great shot, and just this line of cold shoots out from your hand, and you catch it right in its face, and you can tell that it's just cutting through the heat coming off of it, and you see it start on his face, and it just goes off, and it catches his wings at the same time, and you see him fall down, caught in mid-flight. You seem to have felled the temperamental fire, but the room is still on fire. How many more actions do you have
I
left?
have one action, so I'm gonna... It's a free action to yell out, right?
Yep.
Get your asses out of here!
What do you think we're trying to do?
Right now, it looks like you're feeling on Deimos.
I have second thoughts about the gnome.
So at this point, all the counselors make their way out of the room. Steno, the smoke is getting especially thick.
I'm moving.
Okay.
This thing's dead, right?
From what you can tell, yes.
Okay. Yeah, she's gonna start moving out of the room.
Okay. How much? Can you make it all the way out?
If you double move, you probably could.
So you'd be looking at 12 squares of movement. What's your speed?
25.
25.
50 feet.
So one action will take you 5 squares. So you'd have to use all 3 actions to get out.
I'll use 2 actions and stop at the door.
Okay. The smoke is even thick at this area too. It's
Just to
getting
make sure the
overwhelming.
2 of them are gonna come out of it too.
Okay. There's so much smoke that you end up taking 3 points of inhalation.
Okay.
My
To
turn.
Thaxi.
I use all 3 moves.
Demos, what's your speed?
25. Give me.
Okay. So now the challenge for Demos is that Demos is in difficult terrain. So this counts as 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Yep, you can all get out. So y'all are going to let the town hall burn?
There's no other option.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't have create water.
Chris is like, you guys could have gone over and peed on it. God. Could have did something.
So the
I could have Rhea frosted it to death, but
If
I'd rather
honestly,
live.
if the vaccine had been attacking it, I could have given her guidance, but let's just get out.
oh, I didn't want to take smoke damage. Smoke does awful thing to my hair.
So y'all make it out from the building. It's beginning to catch. You see guards are they're ringing the bell that the fire's there. Some of the counselors have begun getting a water line started with some of the survivors there, and it looks like they're beginning to get
I'll
the
help with that.
to begin a bucket brigade to deal with the fire as it's starting. And it looks like they are going to be fighting that for a good period of time. The counselors and the crowd that was inside of the hall with y'all is milling about outside a relatively safe distance away, close to the water pumps that are actually part of one of the monument features, not too far from the town hall. With everyone out of the building and the town guard beginning to do their firefighting efforts to try to keep the blaze from consuming the whole building. You see Greta Gardania look around. She's hugging one of the townspeople next to her. A few others are wearily clapping her on the back. You can tell that they're very much thankful for the lives, because if it wasn't for the actions of the counselors as well as y'all together, plenty of them might have not been able to make it out at all. And she goes, "What manner of madness just happened? This can be no accident. Did anyone see anything?" And then one of the guards, who was stationed just outside, raises his hand, and his voice, "Aye!" You see this, he's wearing in a uniform. "The clerk saw everything. It was Calmont, that cad from the bookseller's apprentice. Yes, he lit the fires in the hall next to the chamber, and he's also the one who sent that fire monster loose into the crowd." And then a second guard shouts in, "Indeed!" Kind of a grave, steely-looking woman, one that you might eventually kind of respect, but again, if they're a town guard, they'll never be a Hell Knight, and thus commoner. "And witnesses outside the building saw him run towards Hell Knight Hill." The surprised and worried wave just kind of ripples throughout the crowd with this information. You hear Warball's distinct voice. "The Citadel? My bramble bashes!" And Greta raises her hand authoritatively, and the crowd begins to kind of calm down. "Friends, we'll get to the bottom of this," she assures them. "But we can't do it alone. Who are the heroes in attendance today?" She looks at y'all. Down, medium, high.
Sign me up!
Are you willing to investigate Hell Knight Hill for his heroes?
It's the only reason I came.
And we shall do that next time.